Goodbye and surprise, or I guess it'd be unsurprise. This is a video that I didn't even expect that I would do, but I figured we would have one last hurrah. And when I say we, I'm here with my guest, Maddie Bowe, who helped me to co-found Bizarro's #1 alliance, where we just had another top 10 finish in raids. So, hello, Matt.
Hello.
Thanks for coming
Thanks for
on.
having me.
Yeah, we're doing a sort of impromptu show of sorts, and I'm sure the viewers will be surprised because obviously I haven't done a video in so long and I've pretty much been retired. But so you had some news that you wanted to say, and then and then we were going to talk about a few different subjects. So I'll let you start with your news, and then we can talk about that.
Sure. As my alliance knows, I have decided to step away from the game myself. So it's going to be kind of weird with both of the founders of a pretty high-level alliance kind of walking away at the same time.
Yeah. And before we talk about the alliance, let me just say how much I appreciate your friendship and how glad I am that we got to know each other through the alliance, because you and I have stayed friends outside of the alliance. We play Xbox together, we talk on the phone, and so I really appreciate that, Matt.
Yeah, of course. It's been a lot of fun. Last
Yeah, we in what is it? June would be the 2 year anniversary of the alliance. Is that right?
it sounds right. I kind of lose track of time, honestly.
Yeah, especially these days.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm pretty sure it's March 185th right now.
so you and I were reminiscing a little bit about the various alliances that we've been in and where we started and sort of how we got to starting our own alliance. Because I'm sure you feel the same way, but I wouldn't have gotten to where I was if it wasn't for the support of the alliances that I had along the way.
Oh yeah, of course. I know when alliances first came out, I tried to start an alliance myself called the Red Lanterns. Nobody joined, so that was a little that was a little rough. After a few weeks, I ended up joining kind of an Aquaman themed alliance. Of course, Aquaman's my favorite. And then after I got a little bit more kind of competitive in the game, I was recruited into Major Keys, which was kind of run by um, an acquaintance of both of ours, Siphon. Um, but the person that recruited me, and it's kind of a shame that I'm no longer in touch with him. His name was Ninja, and he was, one
I
of the coolest
remember
people
him.
that I had met. Yeah, just one of the nicest and coolest, most helpful people that I had met in the game. And with that group, I learned a lot. I learned a whole lot. And then after that group dissolved, kind of then formed Paladin Corps, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you know that's the competitive weekly alliance, and I want to give them a lot of credit for their raid performance this last raid too.
Yeah, we've watched them
If
rise
any of you
up.
yeah, if any of you are listening, great job, guys! Congratulations.
Yeah, they were
Then I
just outside of top 10 and just outside, and then they cracked it, I think, last raid, and then really blew it away this raid.
yeah, I, I'm pretty. They finished ahead of us, right? We were sixth, and I think they were fifth.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, just once again, just great job.
And then so for me, because I'll get up to the part where I think I joined Paladin Corps, and then that'll sort of bring you and I together.
Well,
Um,
actually, you and I met in like the Paladin Corps, semi-retirement alliance because I think both of us had kind of taken a break from the game for a
yeah,
while before we met.
but it was that server where I think you and I met.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I believe My first alliance was and I think they're still around, an alliance called Dirty Birds of Prey. And I was kind of attracted to the alliance because I am an Atlanta native, and the Falcons are the Dirty Birds. And so
Yeah, of course.
I think the person who founded the alliance was from Atlanta too. And so my friend Bizarro Lantern and I joined there, and that's where we started learning some things. And one of the people that I wanted to give credit to was I had somebody who had brought me into the convoluted server after I made a couple posts in the community center. And I guess he was just impressed with the posts that I made, so he invited me into the server, and I made some friends there. And I think I joined Convoluted, one of the Convoluted Alliance. I think it was Villains, where Villains is misspelled. And I learned a lot there. And then I think at some point I got invited into Joker's League of Anarchy. And I'm trying to remember how it went from there, because you're right, we were in, what was the name of the semi-retired alliance?
New Age Assassins,
That's
and I
it.
do remember it was Joker who paired us together. He reached out to me and asked if I had room for a couple people in our alliance.
Right.
It was when I was running for World's Finest, so I think I personally had a little bit of visibility at the time.
Yeah, so there was a connection between Paladins, Joker's Alliance, and New Age Assassins, and I think it was then that you and I decided to start Bizarro's number one alliance. So, um, and then it was all, and I think one of the things, as I reflect back on the alliance, one of the things that I really liked that we did was we had a program for people that needed mentors, and so we were taking on lower level players, trying to build future whales, I guess they, if we want to think of it that way. But I just like that idea of loyalty, and that it wasn't all about recruiting the top people, but that it was about trying to create a family.
Yeah, and I mean, we ended up with a lot of top people, by sheer virtue of that too. And just kind of looking back at how many people are still with us at the beginning, I think that's one of the most impressive.
Yeah, I, one of the things that I'm really proud of with the alliance is the culture that we've built. Making it about family. And I think I said something in the alliance about we want to win, but we want to do it as a family, and do it with respect, and do it honorably. Where that's the culture, where we don't ruin each other's good times because we want to win so much, and
Right.
then we end up winning anyway. Um, and then, I was thinking we could talk about some of the great officers that we've had in the alliance throughout the almost 2 years.
Yeah. I know when we originally started, it was me, you, and Brainiac together.
That's right.
And then I think he stepped away and kind of formed his own alliance. And then Galahad Dane stepped in.
That's right. That's man, you got a good memory. And was Batzaro an original leader? I can't remember.
I think he was in our first expansion.
Okay. Yeah, and I will say, you mentioned Brainiac, who's really gone on to some good things. He's now a moderator in the community center, and he keeps in touch with me from time to time. It was funny. He wrote to me one time to tell me he sort of now got some of the things that were frustrating me at the time. Now that he was leading, really good guy. I enjoyed talking with him.
Yeah, I
Um,
didn't know him very long, but I remember before he joined, I kind of looked up to him because I saw him in the community all the time. And it really was just a joy to get to meet him, even though,
yeah, I should keep better in touch with him, but I haven't been in touch with many people. Um, and then the alliance kept growing. We had leaders like Jack, who's still with us, Jack Dono, and we have Bizarro Flash, who's no longer playing the game, but maybe he's still listening to this if he's still subscribed. Who else am I forgetting?
Bat Zaro, who you already mentioned, joined us pretty early,
Yes.
and then he's back with us again. Night Flash was with us as an officer for a while. Uh, he and I go way back, all the way to the Paladin Corps days, so it was nice to link up with him again and kind of fight alongside him.
Yeah, I agree. Such a nice guy. And it's like, it's funny because, we've been with some of these folks for so long and they've been through some like major life events. And in particular, I remember one for Night Flash. And it's like, it makes you feel closer with these folks, more connected. And I really appreciate that because it makes them feel like family. And another guy that came along who I've really enjoyed and I brought into a leadership position was Inferior Warrior.
Yeah,
Such a nice guy. Great to get to know. And so that's what's been the hardest thing for me to walk away from the game is, all these great folks in our family, right?
right.
But I think you and we've decided it's time.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm definitely sticking around in our Discord server because completely losing touch with some of these folks would be tragic.
Yeah, same for me. So I thought, unless there's anything else you want to say, we could sort of transition over and talk about some of maybe the negative things that are impacting our decision to leave the game. Because we wanted to lead with the positive, and we'll probably end with some more positive. But there are obviously some negatives that I think you and I should talk about.
Yeah, and I mean, we can just get straight to it, and I think one of the first ones is just kind of raids in general.
Yeah,
We have become we kind of made ourselves into a raid alliance. We pretty much dropped our requirements for weekly participation so that people can save all their resources. But they've a lot of times they're boring, and that is a big problem. But also just it's gotten out of hand with the amount that you have to spend to stay competitive.
yeah,
And I personally can't. I personally can't keep up.
yeah. I can't
The
either
pandemic
anymore.
has been a real drag on me.
Yeah, I can't keep up anymore either. I'm no longer spending on the raids, and this was the first one where I really didn't spend anything, and I can see how difficult it is to farm energy. But I think more than that is how competitive raids are becoming, and for me, and you can tell me what you think, Matt, but I don't. I come from the old school days. I'm in my mid 40s, and so when I played video games, it was about who had the most skill when I was a kid. It wasn't about who had the most money. And I'm not knocking people who spend on the game, but for me, I want to know who has the best skill, who manages their resources well. And what I'm starting to notice or see in the raids is that there's increased spending that for me doesn't make the rewards as worth it anymore.
Right.
What do you
I
think?
mean, yeah, if you could do it all for the price of the raid packs, so $25, I think, the return on that is very much worth it because the rewards that you're getting for $25 are far more. They're worth far more than the 25
Exactly.
again.
Yeah.
But I don't know about you, but I went from a surplus of almost 3,000 alliance energy and I finished with under 50. So, you know, if I were to do that again for the next raid, I would have to spend so much in buying alliance energy just to come anywhere close to what I did this time.
Yeah. I mean it was the same for me. I didn't start off with much. I bought one $5 pack because that's about all I can afford right now. And I was spending so much time just farming. I had no intention of doing anything solo. And yet
Yeah,
I still got over 150 million points just from farming Alliance energy.
yeah. And honestly, I do think that that might have contributed to me burning through Alliance energy so fast. I skipped my personal milestones this time. I also ended up a little over the 155 milestone,
Mm-hmm.
but again, most of that was because I was farming.
Yeah,
I needed to do solos so that I could get more alliance and keep us going.
I mean, as the leaders, we used to talk about how we wanted to finish top 10 for recruiting, but I'm not seeing any return on investment there either because the recruiting has gotten so competitive that,
I mean, we've done the last 2 or 3 raids without a full team.
that's right. I mean, I don't know what tips or tricks other alliances are using to recruit. Maybe they can leave that in the comments. But I would feel like as a top 10 raid alliance, we would be doing really well recruiting. But it seems like it's tough out there, and I think that's because there are more and more alliances trying to be top 10 alliances, which makes the
Right.
recruiting more competitive. But as recruiting gets more competitive, the idea of okay, we're top 10, it's just not paying off.
Right. And I have noticed a pattern. It is increasingly only 11 computers, but still, I mean, like I've said, we're essentially offering 15,000 gold and 3 rebirth crystals for 4 days of work.
Yeah,
It's still hard.
it
Are
is.
getting
And at a certain point when you're spending so much, like if you're digging into your gold and your resources beyond just the $5 packs, you're not getting the return you were. And so I don't get it. If I understand other people think differently about it. It's just I don't get it.
right.
So speak.
This was the first raid that I didn't spend. Normally, I buy all the $5 pack, the skin,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'll kind of use some of that gold to move me through my personal milestones. I didn't spend any.
So what was it like playing without the raid packs for the first time?
Like I said, I went from 3,100 alliance energy down to less than 50. So, and if that was a huge one of the other massive of not having those raid packs, the just regular campaign energy that
Yeah, speaking of spending and hard work, because I mean, you put in a lot of work. Maybe we should give some shout outs to the folks who did really well in this past raid. Because,
yeah, uh, our MVP this raid was a whaler who just fantastic, fantastic.
yeah, he's
Always a
the
pleasure to have
MVP.
him with us. Yeah, and
And
then trying to keep up with him was another of our officers, Bizarro Doomsday.
yeah, he
So
did a great job too, whaling out this raid.
yeah, a lot of credit there.
But just so many folks working hard, and we really appreciate it. Um, Raging Bizarro Bob worked really hard. There are others who, Halara worked extremely hard. And we're really happy to have her in the alliance now. A really lucky pickup that we made. And
Absolutely.
she's somebody I've known for a long time, so I really appreciate that, and I appreciated her
And a
joining us.
special shout out to her. She's taking my place in leadership. So thank you
Nice.
for that.
The other thing with the raid, and I think it brings up another topic that you and I wanted to talk about, and I think it's really hot right now on Reddit, and so we'd be remiss if we didn't bring it up, is the hacking. And
Yeah,
I don't want to
absolutely.
talk about it in terms of any specific people because I don't want to go there. But I have to say, like, this is one of the things that's pushed me away from the game. I'm tired of it.
Right. I haven't done PvP in a year because I just got sick of cheaters. I think I think I told you this story. I was in the top 10 for one of the Red Hood showdown. And if that tells you how long it's been, that's how long it's uh, and in the time it took me to drive to my house from my work, I dropped from 10th place to 101st. And just looking at some of those scores that were ahead of me, they were level 28s and level 36s. That there's just no way that they were doing it legitimately.
Yeah.
After I had spent hours and hours and hours grinding away points just to have it all stolen away by a bunch of cheaters.
And the thing to me is, this topic comes up over and over and over, and yet nothing is done about it. And
Yeah.
I can't justify continuing to pay in a game that just doesn't seem to care.
And that's pretty much where I was.
I mean, the other game that I play is Fallout 76. You play that with me, and there was a recent dupe glitch in the game, and all the people who abused it were banned from the game. And
Right.
it's a way Bethesda's saying we don't want these people here. And so as long as WB continues to allow these folks to do this, it's for people like you with your story with the Red Hood tournament. It's just I can't justify spending.
Yeah. And, and the problem is, I mean, a lot of people will say, well, they don't have the staff to monitor it. They do, because if you think about the raid rewards glitch that so many people knew about, that they said had been patched, and then they continued to allow it. They were able to take points away from people, so they clearly have a way of monitoring when people are cheating,
Yep.
and they clearly have a way to remove illegitimately gained points from that.
Yeah.
So,
And I mean, you had a great suggestion a while back, which was why they don't just do with all the tournaments the way they do it with the raid, which is
yeah,
don't release the rewards. Well, you go ahead. You go ahead and
yeah,
explain.
just delay the rewards by 1 day so that you have time to weed out the cheaters. The people who are finishing in the positions aren't going to be that upset about waiting 1 extra day for their character shard, when it means that the people that legitimately should have the rewards get them.
Especially when it
And
could mean also that you might get more shards once they eliminate the cheaters because you get bumped up into a higher bracket.
yeah, exactly. Those people finishing, 101st or 105th. Yeah, there's a good chance you're moving up because there's, a few people ahead of you that didn't do it legit.
Yeah. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. And it's frustrating. Very
Yeah.
frustrating. Um, yeah, so the hacking, and obviously, like I said, there's discussion about the hacking for this past raid, but it's been going on so long. It's going on so long.
I mean, it's been going on since the beginning of the game, and it got better for a while, and then it got much, much worse, and it has not improved a bit since.
Yeah. Well, anything. I mean, anything else that we want to discuss in terms of the things that have pushed us a little bit away? I mean, for me,
Well, I just want to kind of elaborate on something you said about how you appreciated when games were skill based instead of how much you're willing to spend based.
yeah,
And and I think that was what was so exciting about Siege, the first Siege, where you couldn't buy 42,000 gold worth of packs
that's right.
to move up because it was you didn't get packs. You had the energy that you got, and however many points you got, you were there. And I know in that siege I finished top 100, and I haven't done that since. I can't afford I can't afford to spend that a
Well,
PvP turn.
the other thing, and again, I recognize that I'm old school. The other thing I don't get about it, and maybe this is because I'm not somebody who needs to be, top 10, top 100. I don't understand if you're going to spend 2,000 gold per day, why not just buy the packs when they come out?
Yeah, because because that's what, $175 they're asking you to spend on Siege when you could spend essentially 16,000 gold and get the same return.
Because I
You know,
normally finish when I was really trying with Siege, and I don't buy any of the Siege packs. I could usually finish top 350, which would give me a 3-star tune.
right.
Excuse me, 4-star tune once the raids were done. So 3-star with the Siege, and then once raids were done, I'd have 4-star at least.
Yeah,
Sometimes
that's
be
what that's
better.
how I was doing it too.
And so, if you want to rebirth somebody, it would seem like you could still just buy the packs and you'd be in the same position. Am I wrong? Or,
No,
I mean, we could look at the math behind, but I just don't get it. I'm the kind of person I want to see where I can end up without spending. And I'm not knocking anyone who does. It's just, I'm like you. I preferred the first month when you couldn't do that.
uh, and it's a shame because there is no real true test of skill in this game.
Yeah. The other thing for me, it's talking about frustrations, is just the game is stale, and it has been for a while. It's the same thing every month. Two new characters. I mean, it's taken me like 10 minutes to scroll through my roster now because there's so many characters in the game. And it's just introduce new characters, new skills, and even part of that is bothering me is how ridiculous the characters are getting. I mean, I was actually joking with you, if you remember, where I was saying the new tune is going to give everybody 300% turn meter up. And now we're seeing somebody who starts with 35% turn meter up in Shiva. And to
Right.
me, it's just ridiculous. I don't know what you think, but to me, it just, at a point, it gets absurd.
Yeah, I missed the days when Reverse Flash was just the fastest character in the game, and that was it.
Yeah.
And and even that was bad enough because during his like heyday, if you had Reverse Flash, you were going to win. If you didn't, then you were going to lose. But
Yeah. I
but
mean,
but they've made so many more. Like,
well, yeah, I think the turn meter meta started with Lex, and it looked like it was going to subside. And now, like you saw the introductions of Impulse and Night Flash, and so it looks like we're back to that. And, for me, I joked with somebody that said DC Legends should be called Who Goes First, because
right.
it's really down to who goes first.
Yeah, I would love to make a team that's let's see, Martian Manhunter, Brainiac, Black Flash, and Shiva.
Yeah, yeah,
Or Cheetah. Throw Cheetah in there somewhere.
yeah. I don't know. So it's those things for me. And then, do we want to get into the one that's kind of taboo?
I, I mean, I guess we probably should because it does kind of feed into some of these other frustrations that we have, and I think it sometimes feels a lot more personal for you and me,
Yeah,
and that is some of these issues like cheating. You're not even allowed to mention them in game. Like the sheer mention that somebody might be cheating gets you the threat of being banned in game. And that is insane
yep.
because we all want this game to be better.
And I think what makes it worse is that we're not allowed to mention that, but we mention other things that are completely fair game, and yet those are removed.
Right.
It,
And you and I have, well, I know me personally, I've used the CC, I don't know, 3 times since the Detective Chimp fiasco. Like,
yeah, I never use it anymore.
yeah. I think I told you I went on there the other day and it looks like a ghost town.
Yeah, I think you had it right when you said most people are on Reddit, but it's frustrating when we can't voice our displeasure about the hacking because we're calling someone out apparently. but I don't see it as calling someone out when there's irrefutable evidence that you're placing right there. The thing to me that at least I would think the policy is meant to dissuade people from making unfounded accusations to ruin someone's reputation. But if somebody does something to ruin their own reputation for which you have direct evidence of, the
Yeah,
goal isn't.
like a level 38 doing 148 million damage in raids
Yeah.
one pass,
I mean, I wouldn't
or
want to.
even or even a level 80 doing 148 million damage in one pass.
Yeah. I mean, I'd sure hate to ruin the reputation of user 845392214 because, everybody knows that to be a stand up guy or gal,
Right.
whichever it may be. So it's just these kinds of things, have pushed me away, and I imagine you and I are not the only ones who feel this way.
Right.
So anyway, all right. So we were able to complain. Maybe we should bring it back to something positive, so that we close out with positive. It'd be like a deep breath. Take a deep breath and inhale. All right, now we'll talk about positive stuff. I have very much enjoyed my time in this community. There are great folks out there that I've met, and many friends that I've met that I hope to continue relationships with.
Yeah, same. And if I know any of you guys out there that want to stay in touch, feel free to message. If you can find me on Discord, if you guys want to link up with me on PlayStation, Xbox, or even Switch, I'm happy to give you my
Same.
screen names for those so that we can hang out together.
Yeah, same
I
for
mean,
me. Just send me a
yeah,
private
because
message on Discord. If you're on Xbox, I'd be happy to play with you. We'll find some new game to play.
yeah,
All right, well, thanks, Matt. And, not only thanks for being on the show, but thanks for being a good friend. Thanks for the time leading the Alliance with me. I consider it one of the best achievements of my life. That may seem silly to some, but it really means a lot to me.
yeah. I mean that was huge. I mean we came from nothing and just kind of caught lightning in a bottle, and the the idea that we've been a top 10 raid alliance since the beginning, huge thing.
Yeah, I'm very proud of our people. Very proud of them.
And really gonna miss.
Same. So for all you Bizarros in the Alliance, we really appreciate it. We thank you. We love you. We couldn't have done anything without you guys. And we appreciate your hard work and hope you'll continue to work hard even after we're gone. Anything
Yeah.
else, Matt?
Nah, I think kind of said what.
All right, cool. Well, thank you guys for listening. I hope there was something valuable in here, at least gave you something to listen to for 30-something minutes while you're trapped inside during a pandemic. But thank you for listening. Thanks for being a subscriber. If you are still subscribed, I'd tell you to subscribe, but it really doesn't matter because I'm probably not doing any more content. So do whatever you want. Subscribe, unsubscribe, like, dislike. It doesn't matter at this point. But thank you for my loyal listeners. I do appreciate you guys. And I won't see you next time, literally.